Good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction for Roma. Really good press conference from Ole, actually. I mean, may not be good in relation to what you want to hear, but he was asked about the protests. He was asked about the goalkeeper situation. Might be a surprise tomorrow night. Might be a surprise. He was also asked about Marcus Rashford, his comments that have upset Roma fans. We also had Luke Shaw talking as well. So lots and lots to get into, and also stadium expansion. Quite interesting in relation to the Glazers on that as well. So lots to get into in this press conference reaction. But before I do that, I just want to say I'm pleased to say our friends at OneFootball are back again to sponsor the United Stand video today. I use OneFootball all the time, to be honest with you, to keep me up to date with what's going on with Manchester United. I'm sure some of you do as well. OneFootball is an awesome app if you're looking for live scores, football transfer news and up-to-date content surrounding your favourite club and leagues. I mean, to be honest, I use it more for keeping an eye on things like Bundesliga and stuff like that as well. As you know, if you've watched United Stand for a while, I've been using OneFootball for years, and it is an awesome spot to keep up to date with all your sports news. So what you're waiting for, head to the description and download it. It is showing you what it can do on the right hand side there. Also, it's in the link in the video description, and it is free to download. I must just say that as well. It's free to download on Apple and Android, so give it a go, see what you think. The OneFootball app, links in the video description for that. And look, in the time that we had last week, it was very handy to have bits of news coming in amongst other things as well. So right, let's get on with the show. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. That's what I would say about today's show. So, where do we start off? I wanted to start off about stadium expansions, but I'm actually going to start off responsibly, which I'm not always. I mean, a lot of what I do is off the cuff. So I will go through different topics, and I want to start off talking about the stadium expansion or the lack of it. But I'm actually going to start off with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer because I think this is really important to bring this out at the start. He was asked a direct question from a German journalist, which I thought was interesting that it took a German journalist to do this, because I've never heard him ask a question before. And the usual candidates were there, the usual journalists were there. They didn't ask it. This German journalist did say to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what are your thoughts on the protests and what are your thoughts on your owners? He didn't say anything about the protests. He swerved it and he said, my relationship with the Glazers is a good one. They've employed me, they listen to me, and we're looking forward to success in the future, and that's what I'm focused on. Basically, I've got no problem with what Solskjaer said there, and I think it's really responsible for us to put this across to the community and for hopefully the fans to take it on board. He is paid around £10 million a year by the Glazers. What good is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to Manchester United sacked for saying the Glazers are poisonous and ruining Manchester United Football Club? He's never going to say that. So, look, I know Arteta said that Arteta did say something about protests to say, look, it's the fans have got a right to express their opinion. It would, I suppose, Solskjaer could have said that, but I think he's laid out quite a firm company line here, and I pretty much guarantee that the Glazers have fed it down that they don't want any Solskjaer comments, encouraging fans or anything like that. It's a difficult situation for Ole. He's an employee of Manchester United Football Club, and the Glazers own Manchester United Football Club. Of course, we all want him to talk about the protests, and I'm sure he'll be asked about it again on Friday ahead of a massive protest on Sunday. But the reality is, he's an employee of the club. He is not the enemy. He's the manager of Manchester United Football Club. And I, for one, don't have much of an opinion on Solskjaer not talking about the protests. Of course, it would be amazing if he did, but I don't really think we should be expecting him to do it as an employee. And he has been quite consistent. You know, there were those comments last week. Apparently, he said the Glazers love the club, or Joel Glazer does. And he's constantly telling us he's got a good relationship with them. And they listen to him. Unfortunately, they betray him. I would say to Solskjaer, they might listen to you, but they betray you. They never told you about that Super League until just before the kickoff. So you can't trust them, Ole, and he knows that. But look, he's an employee of the club. I don't think we should be attributing any anger or frustration towards him. So we'll move on from that one. Also, just to stick with the Glazers for a moment, there's a story coming out today that whilst they're not opposed to expanding Old Trafford, there are no plans to do it at the moment. I mean, I think some people were sort of like saying, oh, we could be expanding Old Trafford soon. Old Trafford's not been expanded since just 2006. And I don't know whether the Glazers would have signed off on that, where maybe that was already being signed off by previous owners. So in the Glazers' time, we've not expanded Old Trafford really. And that again just shows what they're all about. Expanding the stadium costs money. They don't want to put money into the club like that, even though if they'd expanded the stadium from 75 to 85,000 10 years ago, they'd be making more money. Like, Man United could easily fill Old Trafford. I mean, 100,000? I think we could. I think we could fill 100,000 every week. We'd certainly do 85, 90,000. I think it's shocking that Manchester United haven't expanded their stadium in what will be coming up for 20 years. But this is why it's not just about your players. It's not just about the money they take out. It's the infrastructure of that club. We had a big leak a couple of years ago. That stadium not only needs expansion, it needs renovation, and they just won't put the money in to do it. We could put 10, 15, 20,000, 30,000, I think, on top of what we've got and still fill that stadium. So there's all sorts of stuff that we can do. But I just wanted to bring that in because I think it's a good point. The stadium has not been expanded since 2006. That's coming up for 16 years ago. That's not good enough. Effectively, I think the stadium expansion speaks volumes in relation to where we've been as a club since Sir Alex Ferguson retired as well. We've been a club that's not only stood still, it's taken a step backwards. The expansion on and off the pitch has been stopped so that these owners can take money out of the club. And that's the bottom line. And we all just need to keep that in our head. Whether it changes or not, I don't know. But it's there in clear day, isn't it? Let's go back to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference anyway. He was asked about his comments about the Roma fans. I love Ole for this sort of thing. I know he's a very positive guy. And look, I know he's towing the company line, but you know what would you expect? He's an employee of Manchester United. But he was asked about what he said about Roma because the Roma fans are not very happy about it. After a game, he said that basically hadn't seen much of Roma, and Roma fans have taken this upon themselves to be offended because they're saying, "Let's show him who we are." But Ollie's come out and said, "Look, I showed a lack of respect and basically apologised for it." But it was straight after a game, and what I meant was I didn't mean like, I'm not going to watch them because I think they're crap. I literally meant like we've just had a really busy period. I've not had time to look at them yet. And he says, I know who Roma are. I mean, I've got a couple of shirts, one a De Rossi shirt, and Smalling was there last year on loan, and now he's there now. We just haven't had at that time. I hadn't had the time to analyse them, and I think I like Ollie for that because he said, look, it probably was a little bit of lack of respect, but I didn't mean it like that at all. It was just I was busy with other things. And it has been very, very busy and hectic. So look, Roma fans can get their knickers in a twist if they want, but you're barking up the wrong tree there. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not Jose Mourinho in that sense. He's not there to rile and wind people up and play games. It really was just, out of context, really. So I think Solskjaer being honest and just hitting it straight on was good. He was also asked about Marcus Rashford's injury record. Now, we know that Rashford's not been training before games for the last few weeks. He said that we're managing Marcus Rashford. However, he is through the worst of it and he is available tomorrow night. So that sounds positive on Rashford because, to be honest with you, I felt that Rashford needed a rest. And I just couldn't see how you could work through the injury problems he's got the way that we have. But if we have managed our way through it, then you've got to say fair play to Solskjaer because there's been a bit of criticism there. I think he has picked him when he's not trained and stuff. And if he comes through it and he's fine, then that's important. But what we want to see from Rashford and what we know with Rashford is that I think some of his inconsistent performances have been down to the fact that he's not fit. So what I want to see from Rashford now is if he's through the worst of it, let's start seeing the real Marcus Rashford again. Because I think there's always an excuse for Rashford, of course, if he's not fit. But we need to see him back fit. So I'm looking forward to that. Wishing strength and support to everyone in India. We all know who is suffering or their loved ones are suffering. This too shall pass. Prayers, says Shantanu. Yeah, look, it feels like we're doing this every day, and I think it's important to do it every day. I know there's a lot of Manchester United fans, a lot of football fans in India. So big shout out to those over there. Look, we've been through it in the UK. Italy's been through it. Most of Europe's been through it. A lot of the world been through it. And India are having it hard at the moment. And other countries hopefully won't have it like this anymore when we get these vaccines going and etc. But, India is a densely populated area. And I hope that you can get on top of this. It's not a quick fix. It isn't a quick fix, but thoughts and prayers are with you. Keep doing what they're asking you to do. Isolate, stay apart, stop the spread of that virus. And look, thoughts and prayers with everybody over there because I know there's a lot of ill, sick people and a lot of pain and suffering going on because this virus does kill people, as we know. So yeah, big shout out to you. He was asked about the Eric Bailly contract, but I'm going to come back to that in a minute. It was really interesting, the goalkeeper choice. Now, this has been made a big issue of, but he said, I'm lucky to have both goalkeepers, and whoever's picked will have the trust of his teammates. Now, I don't really want to get pulled into this because, for me, well, I will get pulled into it. Why is it not De Gea tomorrow? I can't understand why Solskjaer would not pick De Gea tomorrow, and I hope he's just doing it to just keep it open, but it has to be De Gea tomorrow. You picked Henderson at the weekend, and you picked him in the Burnley game before that. So you've given Henderson the Premier League shirt. You've got to give David De Gea the Europa League shirt. Otherwise, you've totally and utterly contradicted yourself, Ollie. All season, De Gea has been good. Like, De Gea has been good. I think apart from the Everton game, De Gea has been very good this season. He's had to share with Dean. That was Ollie's decision. You can't suddenly at the end of the season say, I'm not sharing it out anymore. De Gea's done nothing wrong. He's played really well. And Henderson's played well. Share it to the summer and make your decision there. Whatever you do, don't make your decision a month out from the end of the season, because you're going to devalue the player that you're going to sell. And we can't do that. It's got to be De Gea tomorrow night. And to be fair, why wouldn't it be De Gea tomorrow night? Like, what has De Gea done wrong to not get game time? Like, he's done nothing wrong. He was man of the match before he had his before we had the break. When he's come back from the break, he's done well when he's played in the quarterfinal against Granada. And Henderson's done well in the Premier League. Although, what did Henderson do at the weekend? He wasn't tested against Leeds. And the game before that, I thought it was a little bit flappy, really. So I can't understand why it won't be De Gea tomorrow night. But, you know, maybe be prepared. It could be Henderson. And if it is Henderson, obviously we wish him all the best. He's a very, very good goalkeeper. But I just don't think... I just wonder if... I don't know. I mean, look, I'm so in conspiracy theory mode now. I'm thinking, are the club saying put Henderson in goal because then it will cause a big uproar in the fan base and take attention away from the Glazers? That's just preposterous. That cannot be true. But I can't understand why it wouldn't be De Gea tomorrow. It has to be De Gea if Ollie is going to be consistent. And I think Ollie is everything, and he is definitely consistent, as we've seen. It's always Magaluf, it's always McFred, he always picks Rashford, it's always Luke Shaw at left back and Wan-Bissaka. He is very consistent, so I'd be stunned if it's not De Gea tomorrow, and I think it should be De Gea. I think if he's going to be fair, look, I don't mind if it's Henderson in the next season, but for now I think you've got to be consistent, and I think Ollie will be, so it should be that. I'm not talking about who's better, by the way. I'm not interested in who's better. I like both goalkeepers, and I support them both. I just think we've got to be fair on that. So yeah, the goalkeeper situation would be interesting. He was asked about. There's quite a lot to get through, so I'll whiz through it. He was asked about the semi-final of last year. Obviously, this is our fifth semi-final under Solskjaer. There is 2 legs, and Ollie mentioned that, but he said that basically he's been asked, look, have you got to get to the final? This is a big opportunity. He said, look, the reality is we're more experienced than we were last year when we lost to Sevilla. Last year it felt a bit weird. Obviously it was 1 leg, this is over 2 legs, and we've got to turn that disappointment into a good performance from last year. We're more focused. He also made a good point and said that Luke Shaw didn't play in that game, and he didn't. And against Sevilla I thought we played really well. We forget about the Sevilla game. I thought we played really well against Sevilla. We played Fred, Pogba and Bruno in the midfield, and I thought those 3 were fantastic. Unfortunately, the forwards missed a few chances and the defence got done on 2 crosses. I think it was Maguire and Lindelof again, wasn't it? And I don't think Wan-Bissaka and Brandon had good games either. So we didn't have Luke Shaw in that game. And I think, you know, whether that would have made a big difference or not, we should have beat Sevilla. And then Sevilla went on to win it, didn't they? So we've got to take that disappointment. We can't have another semi-final loss. And I don't think that we will. I'm going to stick by the fact that we will win it. Whether we'll win the final or not, I don't know. But we'll definitely win it. There's some worrying news in the live comments. I'm just going to check it out in a minute. I'll just move on to the next topic. He was asked about Eric Bailly's contract. I mean, look, I'm not 100% at reading people. I don't think anybody is. But I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted Eric Bailly to stay. I don't think he minds him staying. I think he likes Eric Bailly, but I think this is about saving money. This is basically Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You've got this much amount of money. Do you want a centre back or a striker? And I think he's putting his money into a striker. So I think Solskjaer as every other Man United manager, you don't get backed like you do at City. You don't get backed like you do at Chelsea. If Pep wants a goalkeeper, they get him a goalkeeper, and if he's not good enough, they'll get him another goalkeeper. Same at right back. If Ollie wants a centre back and a striker, you pick one, and that's basically what's happened here. He's picked the striker over the centre back, and that's why Eric Bailly's staying. Because people keep talking about Varane and everything else like that. Why would Eric Bailly sign a 3-year deal at Manchester United if he's not going to get game time? And his game time is basically you can compete with Lindelof to get the spot next to Harry Maguire, and that's what happened. But he's going to say, in my opinion, but he said about Eric Bailly, he's getting more and more resilient in relation to his injuries. The boys love him. Well, the fans love him. We all love Eric. Again, I'll go back to what I said this morning. Everybody loves Eric Bailly, but I love Carroll and Derek across the road. Don't want him to play. I don't think they can win me a title at centre back though. So liking somebody and then being likeable is a nice bonus if they're good enough. And I like Eric Bailly, I like Harry Maguire, and I like Victor Lindelof, but they will never win as a Premier League title, and that's what we're trying to do. So I don't understand why we've not bought a centre back in. But look, we'll see what happens in the summer. He said when he plays, you can rely on him, and we're very pleased that he's going to stay. A player who is also an employee can oppose the ownership, but as a manager you can't oppose the ownership. Mark, how can you defend this guy? Says Nikhil. Well, give me a little bit more. I don't know what you're talking about. Players coming out and saying things, because I'm not too sure what that's all about, mate. To be honest with you, I'm just checking something here because there is some news. I don't know where it's coming from. Luke Shaw's definitely starting tomorrow night because he's put it out there. Let me have a look. I can't find it. Smash a like on the video while you're waiting for me to be on the ball here. Okay, so it's coming out from Sky that masked protesters attacked Ed Woodward's home in Cheshire last week. On the same day, fans broke into Carrington. No one was home at the time. Damage was caused to the gates of the driveway. Police were not alerted to the incident. Okay, so this is just coming out from Sky Sports at the moment. Well, we'll have to wait and see about that, won't we? Because if that happened, you would have thought there would have been some pictures or something like that, like there was last time. Wasn't reported to the police. Some people are saying it's lies. Some people are saying it's spin in the live chat. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that is going to be the plan of Manchester United fans to do that, because I think they saw a year ago that is not a positive spin on things, and it just creates sympathy for Ed Woodward and the Glazers, and quite rightly so, because if you attack someone's private life, you take it into an area that will garner sympathy. So I don't think that would be something that had been organised by United groups, and I've certainly got no knowledge of that, and why would I? But yeah, I mean, if that's happened, then why has Ed Woodward not reported it to the police? And why is it coming out to Sky a week later? I don't know. We should be getting a little bit more information on that. That's literally just come out. But I would say, United Adrian says it's weird. I would say we need to wait for more information on that. I think any United fan, if that was true, would condone it and say it doesn't help, because nobody should be being attacked privately. That shouldn't happen. There's more than enough ways to do this legitimately and maintain our integrity as United fans. But we'll wait and see what happens. How is it spin though, says Gabrielle. Well, look, I'm not saying it is spin, but I think what people are saying in the live comments is that, well, it just creates sympathy for United. That, look at these thugs, want their club back, and they're acting like that. It's not the right message, is it? But I think people like it has gone quiet, hasn't it? It has gone quiet, and I don't really understand why it's gone so quiet, because that petition that brings about a debate in government about ownership of football clubs, why have Sky and BT, everyone gone quiet? Why has all the media companies gone quiet? Why have all these big football personalities gone quiet? Why have they all gone quiet? I don't know why that is. Just refresh your screen. It'll be back. It just dropped out a bit there. So yeah, why have they gone quiet? Why are they not? Why are they not retweeting this petition? Why are they not asking everybody to sign this petition? Why has it gone quiet? Why are all the fan groups asking people to do it, but nobody else is asking us to do it? I think we've been left high and dry by these big personalities that helped us last week, really. And Lucan says they've gone quiet because they never really cared. Well, look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the petition's on 78,000, says Jack O'Neill. Look, if we can get it up to around 85,000 by tonight, I reckon we can get 15,000 before Friday. So keep going. Gabrielle said he signed the petition the other day. Gabrielle, what we said this morning is get your friends and family to sign it. They'll have email addresses. If everyone can get another 5 to 10 people to sign it, we'll blitz through it. That's the next thing. Right. Anyway, let's move on. Luke Shaw was speaking to the press as well. Luke Shaw was asked about the European Super League, and Luke Shaw said, that's done. We've got to leave it all behind us now and focus on the now. But personally, I think it was the right decision to stop it. He'd already put the tweet out last week, Luke Shaw, but he ain't messing about, is he? Luke Shaw easily, comfortably behind the fans on this about the European Super League. It never should have been planned. It never should have happened. And that's a Manchester United player saying that. But also I agree with Luke Shaw that that's behind them now. They've got to focus. Their job as Manchester United players is to deliver on the pitch. We needed them last week and they played their part. Now we need to take it on and see what we can do with it. Because they, like Ollie, are employees. But also they've got a big game tomorrow night. So I'm more than happy for Luke Shaw to come out and say, look, it's behind us. It shouldn't have happened. But now we've got to focus on the pitch. That is their job. As Manchester United players, that is their job to focus. So I don't think you can get a clearer message from a Manchester United player than that. And I think the vast majority of Manchester United players will agree with that as well, that the European Super League was a bad idea. They didn't want it to happen, and now they get on with their job. So I agree with Luke Shaw on that. He also spoke about it's all about the final. We've got to use these semis as a motivation, which is spot on. He also was asked about what's changed in his performances with Luke Shaw. Now, for me, I've always been a big fan of Luke Shaw, and I've taken so much stick about it from you, some of you in the chat and on social media. I've been saying for a long time that Luke Shaw is one of the top left backs in Europe, in my opinion, in the making, and he's certainly delivered. But he's been asked what's changed, and he said, look, Ollie's got to take some credit, which I'll come back to in a minute. He said also myself, because, I think most successful people have to be driven themselves. He said, I found belief and confidence in me, which has helped me, and I'm enjoying it more. And I think that goes back to Mourinho. He wasn't enjoying it under Mourinho, as we know, but I think under Ollie, he's had a new lease of life. And if you think back to Luke Shaw, pretty much since Mourinho left, it's been a steady improvement in confidence and belief. But when he mentions Ollie, I don't think he's saying it's all down to Ollie. He's just saying Ollie has been a part in it. But I think this is where Ollie is very good, because what Ollie's very good at is he's a man manager, and he's obviously promoted that belief and confidence in Luke Shaw, and we've seen the benefits of it. And I think Ollie's very good at that, and we've seen that benefit with Luke Shaw. But there is no one size fits all. Just because Ollie is good for Luke Shaw and says the right things to make him feel confident and get him to the level that he is, which is amazing, he's not able to do it with everybody, is he? Because, Donny van der Beek, Axel Tuanzebe, there are others that don't get their chance in the team. But others respond well to it as well. There are other teams Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes. These players respond well to it. So, no, look, I think Ollie's strength as a motivator and a man manager is very good, and it will work for some players and it won't work for others. Look, Mourinho, to be fair, the flip side of Mourinho is, it didn't work very well with Luke Shaw, didn't work very well with Martial. I don't think it worked particularly well with Rashford. I think these are players that need the Ollie type manager. But there are other players that Mourinho has managed, like your Zlatans, etc., who are strong-minded And like Mourinho, and it's like, well, look, if you ain't... Fellaini was another one as well. I think, this no-nonsense approach, you're either with me or against me, and if you're not going to put the effort in, I'm going to sideline you. Mourinho's ruthless. And probably 15 years ago, that's, if you didn't like it, you were gone. But these days, you get a different type of coach. Sign Haaland, fund a centre-back and CDM by selling somebody, says Cardius. And Donny and Axel, he just won't trust, says somebody there. Mourinho likes warriors, not players with huge egos. Great manager, says Dios. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic. He is, mate. Come on, boys. Everyone signed the petition, says Dennis. Also, Luke Shaw was asked about... I think this is a very, very interesting point, that he's created more chances than Lionel Messi this season, which just sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But apparently it is true. But he was there to shout out also Aaron Wan-Bissaka as well. And he said it's not just about defending, you've got to get forward as well. I mean, to me, I said it yesterday, so I'm only repeating myself, which I don't like doing. I think at this moment in time, Luke Shaw's got to be Player of the Year. I thought it would be Bruno by a long way, but I think Luke Shaw's been so good that I think Luke Shaw should be Player of the Year, not just at Manchester United, but in the Premier League. He won't get PFA Player of the Year, but I definitely think he should be. I think he should definitely be in there. What have Ollie's team selections been for the last 4 semi-finals? Tomorrow's game will be a good indicator if he's learned, says Sam Elmson. Well, I think that the team selection in the Sevilla game was very good. It was definitely a midfield three of Fred, Pogba and Bruno. And I think it was Martial, Greenwood and Rashford as a front three. I liked that team. I thought it was good. That we just missed chances. And defensively, it would have been Williams, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof and Maguire. So... The big thing tomorrow is going to be who he puts in the midfield. Does he put Pogba in the midfield, or does he go with McFred or Matic and McTominay or something like that? What would it take from the Glazers to get fans and you on side? Do you feel there is a level they could go to really show willing and drive, or do you feel they need to go regardless, says Arkin? I think that's a great question. As I've always said this, whether it's on the United stand or my other content, I'm a firm believer in second chances. I'm not really about being adamantly stubborn. Having said that, in relation to the Glazers, I don't know that there is a way back. I think they've ruined any chance of a way back. I mean, I've been saying on this channel for a long time, show these fans that you have the passion and drive to succeed that we have, and they never have done it. They haven't expanded Old Trafford. They haven't. They've never reduced the debt. They've taken all that money out of the club as well, all the dividends out of the club. At every juncture, they've shown that they're about business. And people will say that they've spent money, but most of the money we've spent has been out of panicking. I would love somebody to break down the money that we've spent when we had the Europa League ahead of us or when we had the Champions League ahead of us. Because, as I recall, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got Harry Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, and we were going into the Europa League. I'm pretty sure we were going into the Europa League. We must have been going into the Europa League. Yeah, we were going into the Europa League because we got to the semi-final. So that 130 million that they spent there was because of the Europa League. The summer that we bought Pogba and Zlatan and Mkhitaryan and Bate, we were going into the Europa League. So they do spend money, but people get blinded by the spending of money, because if you look at the expenditure, look at why that was going to happen. Manchester United, 2 years out of the Champions League, they get a massive reduction in sponsorship and also prize money. So they have to spend to get back in the Champions League. So I don't even find their spending that appealing, because most of the time it's out of desperation that they spend. They spend because they have to, because it's so broken it needs fixing basically. And so look, the question was very good, and I would ask the live comments: is there anything that they can do? I'll ask you lot: is there anything that the Glazers can do from this point to win back your trust or your backing? Because they probably are going to be here for a very long time. So are we always now in this situation where we're unhappy with our ownership? I think that for me, there is always a solution. There is always a solution. I would, but they're never going to want to do it. They're never going to want to do it. If they want to do it, let's sit down and talk about it. But I can't. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. They would have to relinquish quite a bit of power within the club, which they're not going to do. They would have to put more money into the club, which they're not going to do. And it would have to be done very, very quickly and very, very consistently. So consistency, no, they're not going to give that. Expenditure into the club, no, they're not going to do that. And relinquish control, they're not going to do that. But if they, that's the only way back for me. That's the only way back. So please smash a like on the video. If you want to sign the petition, it's pinned at the top of the chat, of course. I like this question from Samuel Pawson. He says, I was on the wind-up earlier. Is it me or does football feel broken right now? Not just United. I really hate its current state. I think that football feels very weird because we haven't had fans in the ground anyway. But I also think that you're right. There is something not right about football at the moment. I think we all feel quite bruised, don't we? I was talking about this in a group chat because people were talking about transfers and Calvert-Lewin and people like that, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense. Why would Everton sell Calvert-Lewin? They don't need to, and they'd want massive money for it. Why would Spurs sell Harry Kane? They don't need to, and they'd want massive money for it. It's just this constant trickle of information coming out. I mean, I think Murta, who's the new director of football, there's a quote from him from the Manchester Evening News talking about buying players for the now, but also players for the future. It's always the future dream. It's always the future dream, and it's always about buying players because they know that's the way to get the fans back thinking about other things. Talk about transfers. Don't deliver the transfers, just talk about them and they'll be happy. Hi Mark, I'm Ollie in, but just a question. Do you believe you back Ollie because of his history as a player or because of his managerial ability? Says Andy George. I've never backed Solskjaer because of his history. No, never in a million years, mate. That's never been why I've backed Solskjaer at all. The reason I back Solskjaer is because of what he's done on the pitch in relation to results. We're second in the league, and I just don't think that you can't sack a manager when he's got a second in the league after getting third in the league. We've never finished in the top four twice since Sir Alex Ferguson left. So if we sacked Solskjaer for finishing second in the league, I would always, because there's no guarantee that at the end of the day, you can bring any manager you want in. I don't think we're going to finish any better than second in the league anyway. So I would always say, well, why did we sack a manager who was second in the league? You've got to see it through. And I think with Solskjaer, we've got to see it through. I'm not saying he's the solution. There are massive concerns in certain areas. But we've got to see it through. That's why I back Solskjaer, because there is evidence that we should see this journey through. We're not at the end of the book yet. I want to finish the book. I love Solskjaer because of what he did in a United shirt, but that's never clouded my vision. Look, I love what Patrice Evra did in a Manchester United shirt. I love what Steve Bruce did in a Manchester United shirt. I loved what Mark Hughes did in a Manchester United shirt. I love what Gary Neville did in a Manchester United shirt. I would never want any of them as a Manchester United manager in a million years. So it doesn't matter how great a legend you were. I'm not going to back you as a Man United manager just because of that. Hey Mark, honestly, even if they become the best owners in football, we all know it's just to win us over and gain our temporary trust, then just make another Super League in a couple of years. Akil, that is the big problem. It's like when you've been cheated on by your partner. Some people take them back and they go on, they get married and they're happy ever after. But do you ever get past that betrayal? Do you ever get past that lack of trust? We're only not in a Super League because of Chelsea and Man City. We're not in a Super League because of our owners, and I think that's always something to keep in your mind. We're not in a Super League because of other clubs, not because of our owners. If we could be in a Super League, they'd have us in a Super League. And that's a dangerous thought to have in your head, because that was betrayal. That was betrayal of history, of players, of managers, and of fans. So, look, the trust is gone. I'm not a business guy, but does anyone know, is there any way to get the government to force them to clear debt, and by doing that might get them to sell, says Joseph McElwain. Look, we need more. We need more. We definitely need more. We need more people involved in this. We need clever people involved in this. We need legislators involved in this. We need financial experts involved in this. We are just fans trying to get our voice heard at the moment. Get that petition signed. Protest on Sunday, hopefully other things coming through into fruition as well. But we're dealing with a well-oiled machine, and we're dealing with very, very, very astute business people. Manchester United is registered in the Cayman Islands. Someone was telling me that. So how does that work? But Manchester United Football Club is English. So there's got to be some government powers to do something. But we need to build this out and do it properly. Sign the petition, as everyone says. It's pinned in the chat. And get your mum and dad to sign the petition. They'll have an email address. Get your neighbours to sign it. Get your friends in your group chats to do it. Spread the word and get them to sign it. It literally doesn't take 30 seconds to do it, does it? You sign the petition, you get an email, you verify it, you're a number, and it's done. Let's get it to 100,000 and then we can move on. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Harry's got 5 people to sign it so far today, which is fantastic. And I don't care who signs it. Just get them to sign it. It's not fraud though, is it, Paul? Because how can it be fraud? How can it be fraud to ask your mum and dad to sign a petition? They're individual people. To explain what the petition's about, explain why you're passionate, and get them to sign it. It's only like somebody knocking on your door when there's an election and saying vote Labour, vote Tory, vote Liberal Democrat for this reason, and then you vote. If they don't want to sign it, they don't have to sign it. But if you put it across passionately, they can. Beatrix has got 6 people to sign it. Career mode today, says Ben. No, I'm going on Twitch, I think. I'm going to play a bit of FIFA Draft because I've got a watch along tonight, PSG Man City. So I don't normally do FIFA because it only has about 3 hours before the watch along. So I'm going to drop on Goalbridge TV on Twitch. I'll be on there in about 20 minutes playing a bit of FIFA Draft and having a chat. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Get onto that petition if it's still there. Click it. Copy that link and get it out to everybody. And I'll speak to you all very soon. We're live at 7 o'clock tonight because obviously a lot of people will probably be watching my watch along on That's Football. They might not, but there is a match at 8 o'clock tonight, quite a big one. PSG against Man City. So 7 o'clock on the United stand. We'll see you then. And thanks everyone who's signing the petition, and I'll see you in a little bit.